Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 44. Is healthcare a right? So I'm a practitioner of radiology, and is healthcare an absolute human right? And I would say no, under no circumstance it can't be. Uh, so let me explain myself a little bit further. What is a right? A right is something that you are free to exercise that imposes no obligation on other people. For example, my right to free speech today in this YouTube video, I can post it, but nobody has to watch it. Nobody has to listen to it. People can be free to watch it if they want to, and they don't have to share it with anybody. And I can't harm anybody in the process, or I can't ask anybody to labor for me. You know, I can't ask for any special privileges to do such things. And therefore, the free speech on YouTube, that is my right. And it's intrinsic to myself, and it doesn't harm anybody in the process. Now, let's think about what happens in the practice of medicine. The practice of medicine, people they go to the doctor, and then, or the nurse practitioner or the PA or whatever else. They go to their practitioner, and they ask for somebody to see them, right? And then they, and usually it's in a building, and usually it's, there's a staff there. There's a staff there helping you. And then you actually have to expel your energy of your brain and your labors towards this person to help them get through whatever disease process or complaint that they have. And so that is and when you do that, you actually spend your intellectual property upon them, and they exchange dollars for that expenditure of intellectual property. And then if it works properly, they come to you, you give them good advice, bad advice, whatever it is. You write them a prescription, you prescribe surgery or something like that, and they get a great benefit in their health care from you, and you get a great benefit from the dollars that they pay you. Now, when you say health care is a right, do they have a right to your labors like that? And I'd say under no circumstance. I could refuse to see a patient if I wanted to. I could be more. Well, what if I had a moral objection to what they were asking me to do? I could say, no, I'm not going to see you. I'm not going to do that. And they cannot force me by the force of the state to say, you have to see me, or else you'll go to jail and be penalized. And oh, by the way, you have to, and you have to do it for free. Like, what if somebody had like absolutely $0? Am I obligated to go out and give away free healthcare? And that answer is no. And so let's think about like labor markets in the past where people were forced to give away their labors for free. Well, that's the slavery in the Deep South in America. I mean, our history has a long tainted, or our country has a long tainted history of taking a group of people and forcing them to give away their labors to other people when they didn't necessarily want to give away their labors. Nobody had a right to their labors. Nobody had a right to their industry. Nobody had a right to their physical property and their intellectual property and their minds. And that's why slavery is wrong. Now, if you say that somebody has a right to your labor in any industry, in any avenue, whether it be medicine, law, accounting, you name it, or even like a grocery store, that's called theft and slavery. Like, do you have a right to food? No, you don't. But I mean, could you walk into a grocery store and just take food? No, you'd be arrested. You would be, because you don't have a right to people's property. In medicine, there's property expenditure, and there's also mental property as well. And so those are ours and ours alone. Now, here's the deal. When you have a moral society, you have all these rights. You have a right to property, you have a right to speech, you have a right to defend yourself, you have a lot of rights, right to practice your own religion, as long as it doesn't pose obligations on other people. But here's the problem. When you have a moral society and you claim these rights, along with these rights come basic responsibilities. And these are responsibilities that I think everybody should share in a legalistic manner. And so that would be that society would form itself so that people get a basic low level of healthcare at a very minimum, right? The bottom of the barrel. That, I think you can make a reasonable claim to, that society has a responsibility and a moral obligation to provide those in need. And so you could create taxation systems that will hopefully get care provided to the ill and dispossessed that don't have the capacity to pay for their own health care. That I have no moral, and in fact, I don't have any objection to it. In fact, I am all for that. That's exactly what we as moral people are obligated to do. And because we claim our rights as free people and we act as free people, we have massive obligations that go forward in the future towards other peoples and our fellow citizens. And at very minimum, people deserve us to give them a basic low-level healthcare system, even if they're not able to afford it. And so rights and obligations are two different things. Healthcare cannot be a right, because if people claim that right from you, that makes you a slave to them. But obligations are very important, that I can consciously decide to go out and help people out in their time of need. And that I see as my great obligation, that I can actually help people even when they're not able to pay me for it. And so there you go. This is Catholic Dad signing off. Please like or subscribe. Healthcare is not a right, and it's a great obligation of all healthcare providers and even the state in some ways. So thank you. God bless. Pray the Rosary. Get the Mass. Good night.